My mom regrets choosing my sister over me. You understand that it's not nice to be a biased parent. How? So let's get started. Celestia here. A few months ago, I studied all night long for a test that was the following morning. I went to bed when I was unable to keep my eyes open any longer. I have no idea how much time I slept. But the loudest alarm I've ever heard awakened me up. I noticed an alarm clock next to my bed when I opened my eyes. It read 2 a.m.? But given that I hadn't placed it there, that seemed strange. I pressed the off switch. But the phone didn't stop ringing. I was still exhausted. I struggled to keep my eyes open as I perused my surroundings. On my desk, I noticed a different alarm clock. Therefore, that had to be the ringing. That one was also turned off once I stood up. However, the alarm didn't stop sounding. I was losing my mind. Why were there so many clocks in my room? Is this a dream? The lights suddenly turned on. At the door was my sister, Debbie. She had apparently been observing me the entire time. She began to laugh. The alarm was still sounding at the time. I noticed another clock on the side table as I turned to look around. That one stopped buzzing when I pressed the button. Thus, the clock that had been ringing throughout was that. Debbie had played a joke on me, and she was giggling uncontrollably. The clock that was actually ringing was the one that was farthest from the bed. She had placed 3 clocks in various locations throughout the room. She had thoroughly enjoyed watching me try to solve that. I was furious. This is not at all funny. Do you know what you're doing? I scolded her. Our mother entered just as she did. Why are you shouting in the middle of the night, Celestia? Your sister is amusing herself a little. You're not funny at all. Maybe you could laugh and unwind a little, she said. My critical exam was the following morning. I had panicked, awakened from my sleep. However, my mother was standing up for her preferred daughter, as she always did. No, Mom, I don't have a sense of humor, I replied. That's why it's hard for me to laugh at silly practical jokes. Please excuse me while I return to sleep, I murmured as I climbed back into bed. Debbie and I are only 3 years apart in age. Everybody remarks on my maturity for my age. Debbie, on the other hand, is completely the opposite. She lacks maturity. In fact, she looks a lot like our mother. They also have a lot in common in other ways. My sister looks and acts more like our mother, whereas I'm more like our dad. Our parents separated 5 years ago. They now hate one another. I guess my mother thinks of my father every time she looks at me. This has made her angry with me. And for that reason, she prefers Debbie to me. She actually has no interest in me at all. She's just fond of her. Debbie is aware that her mother loves her, and she consistently takes advantage of that. She asked our mother for pancakes one morning. I don't have time right now, Mom remarked. Tomorrow I'll prepare them for you. Nobody loves me, Debbie murmured before sobbing. Mom decided to take the day off work. Through her tears, she cried, Oh, honey, I love you so much. And then she began to make pancakes. To be completely honest, none of this bothers me much anymore. I adapted to it. My mother has long made it apparent that she likes my sister better. I'm attempting to see the bright side of this because I can't alter her. Yes, I did feel abandoned, but going through this gave me greater strength and fortitude. Debbie rushed into my room one day. She had the newest iPhone in her hand. Do you like my new phone? She said. If you want, I can offer you my previous one. She intended to make me envious by saying, It's still better than yours. I didn't, nevertheless, give her what she wanted. I grinned and exclaimed, Wow, enjoy! But I was incredibly furious. My mom had bought Debbie 2 new phones in the previous 2 years, but I continued to use my dad's old phone. And the iPhone she recently acquired was the one I'd been fantasizing about. Money is always a source of complaint for my mother. She frequently claims that after paying her bills and rent, she has nothing left. However, nothing else matters when Debbie is asking for anything. I learned that Debbie had sobbed to her and asked for a new phone. To buy her the most recent iPhone, Mom had to borrow money from a friend. All of this was on my mind that evening. I abruptly got to my feet. Debbie needs Mom. I don't need anyone, though. I can buy my own phone, I reasoned. I got online and began seeking part-time employment. I finally decided that being a dog walker would be the best for me after looking around for a time. It was not too difficult. You grab the canine, you stroll it. After that, you deliver it. The owner of the dog would reimburse you for the time you spent with it. I adore pets a lot. What a fantastic gig, I muttered to myself as I jotted down the phone numbers from the advertisements. I'll make money and have fun too. The following day after school, I began calling. My initial caller had already secured a dog walker. A woman answered the phone when I dialed the following number. I called to ask about the ad, I said. She requested that I visit her. When I arrived at the address, it was an optical shop. I was greeted at the door by the woman I had spoken to and her dog. "Please, wear this monster out," she replied, handing me a frisbee. "He must let all of his energy out." He had been after me all day. The dog, named Max, was unable to remain motionless. A park was close by. Max obviously enjoyed playing with the frisbee. He was unable to take his eyes off of it. I tossed it his way. He caught it with a huge leap. He then delivered it to me. As Max and I were having fun, I noticed something. Only approximately half the time was he successful in catching the frisbee. He ought to be able to catch it more frequently, in my opinion. He consistently leaped quite high, but for some reason he was missing many of my throws. I began observing him intently as I threw the frisbee to him. He repeatedly missed it, though. But I'd figured out why. He had to squint because of the sun. Due to poor vision, he was unable to catch the frisbee. Zoe was the name of Max's human. I told her what I had seen at the park as I was dropping off Max. "You run a shop selling glasses. Max can try on the sunglasses tomorrow if you can find a pair for him. He won't be bothered by the sun and will catch the frisbee every time," I explained. Zoe grinned. "A dog wearing sunglasses? Max won't like that very much, but I'll look for something else," she added. The following day, Max was sporting sunglasses when I arrived to take him up. "What do you think?" asked Zoe. "These are intended for children. However, Max fits nicely in them. I used an elastic band to fasten them to the back of his head. Max had a strange appearance, but I was confident that this would work. He went to the same park with me. He was no longer bothered by the sun thanks to the sunglasses. Every time he caught the frisbee. More importantly, compared to the previous day, he was incredibly happier. I recorded him in a few videos. As I was dropping him off, I showed Zoe. She was genuinely shocked. "He is not bothered by those sunglasses in the least. He appears to be really content," she observed. I spoke with my mother about it that evening at dinner. "Celestia, this is the most absurd concept I've ever heard in my life," she exclaimed. "He'd tell you it was ridiculous if that poor dog could talk," she said, laughing. Debbie also made fun of me. I was very angry. I apologized and admitted fault. "I don't know why I would ever tell you anything," I said, rising from the table. Zoe asked me if I might come in for a moment when I went to pick up Max from school. I want to discuss something essential with you. I was interested. We visited her workplace. I had no idea how drastically this talk would alter my life. I have a pal who is a veterinarian. She visited yesterday evening. I informed her about Max's sunglasses. She adored the concept of dog sunglasses. There is unquestionably a need for it, she assured me. Dogs' eyes are extremely delicate. They are troubled by the sun in the summer and the snow in the winter. This concept is patentable, and you could launch a line of dog-friendly sunglasses. It would undoubtedly be a big success. I pondered it all night. I believe it's a fantastic idea. It's your idea, though. I want us to be business partners because of this. How do you feel? I was genuinely shocked. I'd love to do it, of course. I expressed my gratitude for watching out for me. And I want to thank you for this fantastic idea, Zoe continued. To become partners, we will have to agree to a number of contracts. However, we require permission from one of your parents, since you are a minor. I was aware that my mother would probably reject such a request, but my dad would undoubtedly be in favor of it. I assured her. No issue at all. My father will visit as soon as he can. The weeks that followed seemed to be dreams. Our doggy sunglasses concept became popular right away. As soon as we launched them, sales exploded. I created a bank account with my father. My share of the money was starting to be deposited into the account by Zoe. I soon possessed $2 million. Mom was clueless about what was happening. It's time to inform her, I reasoned. I left my house on that day as well. I walked into my room and started packing a bag. In the living room, Debbie and my mother were engaged in a board game. When I entered, they all paused and turned to face me. They appeared agitated. Where do you think you're going? My mother questioned, pointing at my suitcase. I'm moving in with my dad as of right now. You two appear to be doing well, as per usual. You probably won't even realize that I'm gone, I assured them. My mother didn't answer. A smile spread across Debbie's face. I was disappointed that my mother remained silent. By the way, the concept of doggy sunglasses, which you made fun of, wasn't so stupid after all. I stifled a smile and added, That thought has made me wealthy today. I purchased a home. My mom was visibly astonished when I said, That's where my dad and I are going to reside. Before she could respond, I departed. Outside, my driver was waiting. He unlocked the car door for me. Debbie and Mom accompanied me outside. Astonished were they when they noticed the opulent automobile. Celestia, if you're wealthy, then you owe me a portion of this money, my mother yelled angrily. Your mother. Why have I never heard of this before? I responded. You don't know anything because all you care about is Debbie. After that, my mother adopted a different approach, asking Celestia, My dear, why are you talking like this? You are both my daughters. Debbie is younger, so I might have paid a little more attention to her, but you are also my daughter. I understood that my mother was merely saying this to get my money. Debbie was and would always be her favorite, as we both knew. I climbed inside the automobile. The door was shut by the driver. I was unable to suppress my emotions any longer. My eyes started to well up with tears. I couldn't expect my mother to adore me just because I was her daughter. She required a cause to cherish me. Knowing that she could only love me for money hurt me a great deal.